Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. This episode, we're going to be talking about podcasting to, help speed up your sales process. I have my good friend Tim on to talk about what he's done to help grow his business with his podcast, and also having a podcast that for a local business as well, and what that's been like. A lot of local businesses, I don't think have tried podcasting, so I'm sure there's a lot of insight you could share there. But firstly, so people kind of know who you are and what you do kind of and why you're awesome, Tim. Can you kind of just talk about all that cool stuff, the basic stuff,
Sure. Why am I awesome? Well, I don't know if that I am awesome, but a little bit about me. I am, first and foremost, a gym owner for the last now 11 years in the business. I've been running and operating my own training studio. About 5-6 years ago, I stepped out of the business and, I still own it, but I have a team that runs the operations. And so I was able to create ProFit marketing solutions and spin off for, marketing for gyms, and then spin off into coaching. Part of that is having that podcast for ProFit. But like you mentioned before, we also have the podcast for the gym as well, local brick and mortar here in Scottsdale, Arizona. So,
yes. I think something that you're good at, like I think you're a good content producer. Like you do a lot of content and you're like charismatic and you have good topics. Like I guess we could talk about first, like, because the first thing was your local business, right? Before your agency. Like what would you say as far as the importance of content for local businesses and how they can get better at it?
Yeah, well, so content is an absolute must, and I don't think enough people do it. I think there's a lot of reasons, and it probably comes down to like, I don't know what people want to hear, or I don't know if I have enough to say. And I could see that, right? I could see getting in there, getting stuck, or people aren't going to be that interested in me. If you take a quick scan of what's out there and being produced at content, you're better than all those folks, right? You see it. People, so the thing I would tell
because it's not intuitive, right? Because it's not what they use to grow their business.
Sure. It's right. So the best thing you can do, I mean, this is the easiest thing. And for us, it was easy because we own the gym and we speak to clients every single day, is bring up the questions that they're asking you every day. What should I eat after my workout? Or what running shoes should I have? Or, I'm thinking about, what should I eat, when and what times and what are my macro, like all those things end up becoming content for us. And so we're always tuning in to what our clients are listening to, at least at the gym level. And then for ProFit, for us, it's really easy because we work and we coach gym owners. I am one. And so I'm just in the business, in the trenches, and things that come up, that ends up becoming content for us, either on the podcast or video or whatever. So,
yeah. And they're probably already listening to that type of content. It's just, how could you be that type of content for them and, exist in two places, and cross promote? So,
yeah, I mean, I guess, I'm under the assumption everybody understands how important content is. But if you don't understand why it's so important, think about the marketplace that you're speaking to. Think about how many people are out there that are unaware of what you do and what problem you solve. They may not even realize they have the problem themselves. And so you need to put a magnifying glass on their problem, whatever it is that you solve. Maybe it's financial struggles and you're a financial person, or it's a marketing guy and you're talking to business owners and you're showing them, putting a magnifying glass on all the things they're doing wrong and how you can solve that for them.
Yeah. So I think the difficulty piece is another factor, because like, I guess if you've never done content, it's just hard to just do it on your own. Cause so like, what else would you recommend to make it easier? I know like you have Randy, you have a co-host, like was that a tactic to get someone to help you?
Absolutely. So yeah, on the Built to Grow podcast for the gym, for the coaching side of it, absolutely having a co-host on there helps me because we bounce ideas off each other. We both know the direction, and if I get stuck in something, he'll pull me out, and vice versa, in the rhythm of the show. But prior to that, we're constantly talking about, oh, that would be a great podcast topic. Oh, great, dude, we should talk about this. Remember when this happened and how you fixed it? It all becomes content. And one of the best things I think we do is, well, I'm in the podcast studio, is having a set place that's dedicated for us to go and do the podcast. And we treat it as if it's a job. We have to go to work today, and this is where we think, and this is where we act. But also is we have cameras all through here, and we're having 3 or 4 different cameras on us at all times. And then guess what? That becomes, repurposed into videos and into short clips for social, into emails. It's limitless on what you can do. If you have a really good episode, that turns into a blueprint on how to do that specific thing, and that becomes a lead magnet. It's the same content, just delivered different ways.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that actually, like behind the scenes, because what you do, I don't think a lot of people do that approach where it's like everyone's like doing Zoom rooms nowadays, which it still works, right? But what you do might be a more attractive solution to a lot of local businesses. Having a room dedicated, having a co-host, having that environment, the physical nature, because I think local businesses are used to that, the physicality of things, not the digital things. So I think it's a really good tip. So.
Well, here's what we do with our gym. So I don't have anything to do. You're our podcast coach. You edit the content, master the audio, and get it out there for us. So Legacy Podcasting, we hired you to take that content and push it out there for us. But I have my team do it. Puts the spotlight on them. They feel, empowered to
for your
speak
local business podcast.
For the local business. Yeah. So I have my fitness director and I have my coaches, and we rotate the coaches sometimes. And they're all on camera, and they're on the audio, and they feel really good. But here's the kicker. When that audio and those podcasts start getting shared around in the community, and then they hear something that resonates with them, and then they show up in the gym, and that's the person they were listening to on the podcast, it's an instant connection, and they're an auto buyer. They are they know, like, and trust you, and then you're the person that they're working with in the gym. It's amazing.
Yeah. And I didn't even think about that, really, like that aspect to the podcast, that you have like other people involved. It doesn't have to be you. It could be people on the team. Like I think Gary Vee did that early on too. Like his first interview shows were like other people in the company. It wasn't just him. So people got to see, like, it was almost like a reality TV show,
That's great.
And you have more affinity to the brand, in the
Well,
company.
think about that. Yeah. If you're a busy business owner and you don't have the time, and maybe you aren't the face. I'm not the face of the gym anymore. So that's great. I can put them as the face, and that content gets out, and
they'll feel empowered by it.
Oh yeah. They love it. I don't ever have to ask them to go do a recording. They're on it. They've already got it all listed out. They love it. It's pretty cool, right? They're a trainer at a gym, or they're an employee at your company, but yet here they are. They're also a host of a podcast. That's very cool.
Do you have any like specific stories or examples on how like the local business podcast has helped with customer interaction or sales or
Yes, absolutely. So Zach is our fitness director. He's the host. He's like the me of his show, which is my gym, but whatever.
Healthy Living Scottsdale.
Yeah,
so
healthy living,
local niche podcast.
And that was one of the big things, was we only draw from maybe a 10-mile radius around our brick and mortar. So we had to really tune in to the city that we were in. So Scottsdale, in the name, Healthy Living Scottsdale, we went that direction. Whatever. Has it helped or not helped? I'm not quite sure yet. It's still, I think we're 36 episodes in on that one. But what happens is we share this podcast with our current clients. Our current clients share it with their friends and family on their social media. They push it out. We send it via email. And then now people are starting to hear it that we didn't directly give it to. And then next thing you know, we get calls, maybe 1 or 2 a week, and sometimes even more. Hey, I heard the show about this. This is really talking to me. This is my same problem. I would love to work with you guys. Sometimes they've come in and they're kind of, it's weird that they feel like they're almost like seeing a celebrity sitting in front of them. They put the podcast host up on this pedestal, and it's pretty cool, right? Because
that's what a celebrity is. You know way more about them than they know about you.
Pretty much.
And it's a weird interaction. You're like, hey, I know everything about you, but you don't even know my name.
And so if you're thinking about the sales approach, the framing, if you look at going into a doctor's office, you put them on a pedestal and you listen to what they have to say. It's the same thing. They put you on a pedestal here and they listen to what you have to say because you're the expert. You have the podcast.
And you're not a stranger anymore.
Correct. Yeah. And they know you.
So let's talk about your other podcast as well, Built to Grow. And talk about, I guess, like what that business is like and how the podcast correlates to, producing content for that business, helping sales. Cause I know that's a different model than like a local business. It's higher ticket and different like deliverables and audience and messaging. Like what has that experience been like?
Yeah. So,
and you're a beast, by the way. You do 2 episodes a week.
Yeah.
For the last,
year and plus. So, when you told me that the average podcast out there, not your guys' podcast, but in general, 7 episodes, I was blown away. We did
like 50% of podcasts don't get past 7. Yeah.
That's wild. And I just, you gotta wonder why, right? Is it because they run out of content, or they don't get an instant feedback or instant return on investment? We knew going into the Built to Grow podcast, we weren't going to see any money or return on investment for a long time. In fact, we tracked it. It wasn't until episode 35 where somebody that we spoke to that we didn't know mentioned the podcast. That's what we tracked it to 35 episodes into this thing. Finally, somebody mentioned, I heard that episode, maybe they didn't become a client, but that was the first kind of feedback of somebody that we didn't know, which was interesting. We started making money with it around probably just after that, and where people were wanting to work with us because of what they heard on the show. And that immediately, when we started getting that, we let you and Ryan know immediately, because that was the whole point of this thing, was let's get out there, let's use this as marketing, as content, and see if we can't generate a return on investment. The best clients that we have listened to all the shows or several shows, or, you know what I mean? They've binged on the content. Those are our best clients because they hear us, it resonates with them, and they want to work with us because, we're kind of showing our hand, right? When we're a host of a podcast, we're showing our hand. This is what we talk about. This is what it's going to be like to work with us. And this is the style of our coaching. If you like it, come on in. And that's, by the time they hear all the shows, they come on in, they become amazing clients from there.
I'm happy you saw that, because I still have I have to still explain that to people. Because where else can you get 20 to 30 minutes to speak to someone, but at scale? Unless you physically call someone, how do you do that? An email is a 2-minute read, same with a blog post or a social media post. It's a quick read. You can't really go deep on something unless you're doing an audiobook or something. And, I tell people it's like building an asset. I think Netflix lost a lot of money investing into shows, but they built that platform where now they have that asset where they could always communicate and launch new stuff because they know that people trust them and they want more,
Yeah, you nailed it. After getting into it for a while, I truly believe podcasting is the best medium for marketing. For what you said, you have their full attention for 15, 20, 30, 60 minutes in their earbuds when they're at the gym, driving to work, doing chores around the house, and you're speaking to them and you have their attention. And that's the kicker. You have, but
it's also intentional. So they're not in a feed where they're where you're just in their face. They're I'm going to go listen to this and learn something because I have an intention I want to get it, So.
Well, let's think about all the obstacles. I think everybody should have a podcast. Period. If you're in business, or maybe if you just want to entertain people, you can do that too. That's a whole nother.
Those are the biggest podcasts, news and entertainment, actually.
Yeah, nothing to sell, just there to entertain. And
they sell ads.
Or they sell ads, but they're not pitching on the podcast or whatever. Yeah. Think about all the hurdles, right? What equipment? Where do I host this? How do I get the cover design made? What's the theme going to be? What's my logo going to be? What the hell am I going to talk about? How long are they going to be? Do I have a co-host? Do I do interviews? Is it a solo? There's all these things that you go through to try to figure it out. What I did is I just listened to the ones I liked. And I listened to Joe Rogan, and I listened to Andy Frisella, and I listened to Frank Kern, and all these guys that have podcasts. And I resonated with Andy Frisella. He has a co-host. He does
it's a big podcast.
It was the MF CEO at the time. I think he's closed that down and moved on to something else, but it was exactly what I modeled my podcast after. If you remember, he's got a nickname for his co-host. I had a nickname for Randy until I just couldn't think of any more nicknames. 150 episodes, I couldn't think of any more damn nicknames for Randy. And that was kind of weird when I do introduce him without a nickname. But, Andy had a nickname for his guy. I had a nickname for Randy. We just jived, and it was just really good. So,
yeah. Do you still have that audio clip, by the way, where I put all those?
Somewhere.
Yeah. So that's actually the same, I bet, for fitness, right? If you try to learn from, or there's people cannot you have to look at the big picture, right? Like if you're trying to get in shape, you have to look at the person you're trying to be like, I guess, and follow them, not try to like take in too much information.
Maybe there's a lot of people out there that look great, couldn't coach you worth a damn.
True. Yeah. They probably
something to think about.
They probably just have needles. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of reasons why people look great, but they can't be a good coach. There's, as far as fitness goes, I mean, we take fitness seriously. Our coaches have degrees, multiple certifications. You can become a trainer without a certification and train clients. You can be an Instagram program design guy, sell all your workouts. Just because you work out doesn't mean you're a good coach. So there's that. I'll throw that out there for all my gym owners out there. They're like, yeah, Tim, like, you know that. So as far as, well, anyways, going back to the modeling. Yes, it was going back and modeling who I thought was really good, entertaining shows. Andy Frisella. I looked at Joe Rogan. He had a kick-ass studio, and that's how I modeled our studio. Obviously, didn't have all the.
Do you see his new studio?
Yeah, that's off the wall. I don't know about that one. I think we got some work to do to catch up to that. But like,
you like it?
Not really. It's cool, but
kind of red.
I've heard a lot of negative response to it. Whatever. I mean, that's cool. He'll probably change it. He's got plenty of cash to do that. But we built a studio here. We spent about 10 grand on the construction of it. We had to partition the wall, insulate everything. This table that I'm talking to you on, this was what we handmade this thing just because we knew it was going to be such a staple in the show. So that's how we did ours.
I love that. So you just went on from the start. You knew like that's the way to do it. It's a marathon. Like most people think it's just like a flash in the pan. Like, let me just do this and then not do it again. It's like a commitment, to yourself. So can we talk about like your summit now? Like, so would you say having a podcast audience helped promote your summit?
Absolutely. So, right. So our Fitness Growth Summit is something that we ended up going online with this year. Last year we did it in person. We had it here in Scottsdale, and it was an amazing event. In fact, I ran it, but I felt like it was so well put together, and that's just the comments we got. It was just perfect, from the food to the venue to the speakers to the flow.
And that actually, you sold out on the podcast as well too, right?
Early, yeah, we did.
Yeah.
That was in the beginning. Yeah, that was probably in our first 50 episodes. We were talking about last year's. This year, obviously, with the situation with COVID, we went online, and instead of going to a paid kind of in-person thing, we did a free virtual. You're one of the guest speakers on there, and we had 30 pros on there, 30 experts. And
what's the website again? It's
fitnessgrowthsummit.com.
Okay.
Pretty
so you guys
simple.
Want to see it?
Yeah, fitnessgrowthsummit.com. We did a free summit. It's kicking off here on the 21st of September, and you can upgrade and get access now because everything's recorded. We were giving away access, but absolutely, we built it up. We teased it for several episodes, and then finally, when we had the URL, we started just blasting the URL. And we used to do it at the end. Remember early on, we used to pitch our things at the end, and we were finding there was drop off before people even heard it. So then we brought it into the beginning. And even in some of the intros, we brought it into there. So that's something like a pro tip is if you got something to like an announcement, I would say bring it to the front of the show.
Yeah. Just a quick like reminder, like kind of, what do they call it? Just updates.
Yeah. Updates, announcements.
As long as you tease beforehand, like what the episode's going to be about, so they have some sort of like know why they're listening and what they're going to get out of the end, then you can always throw in like they'll withstand the 30-second ad, if they know you're getting to the juice. So
yeah, and so again, going back to the people I listen to, like Frank Kern, his whole thing's a pitch. Every episode's a pitch, and I'm just trying to figure out best practices with him. I picked some of that stuff out, but I stopped listening to it because the whole thing's a pitch. Every single
Ty
episode.
Lopez too. Like there's
I've
actually counted it in one of his episodes. It was market research, but it was like a 22-minute episode, and there were 6 minutes of ads, like 3 different ads. One was like for like Audible, and then Teachable. Like I was like selling out, dude. Okay, so I was gonna ask a question. What were we just talking about? We were talking about
the Growth Summit and teasing it.
Oh, so actually, this is actually, I think, more of a statement. I think, because I've seen this before with people, some clients who have had summits, having that new list, the new people, will be a great podcast audience as well. People who join a summit who don't know who you are, because they love information. If they join a summit, then they want to like learn. And that's almost the same mindset of a podcast listener. They're like usually higher IQ, people who actually care about what they're trying to do, especially if it's an educational podcast.
Exactly.
They have to be motivated, you know?
Oh no, it's awesome.
So I imagine your podcast getting even more downloads from the summit. So,
I hope so. We've put them into some, have
you already been promoting the podcast?
The podcast, yeah. So we basically from the summit. So this is what we're doing, guys. So we drive people into the summit via podcast that have heard us. Plus, our speakers are sharing it to all their lists and everything else, to their social media. As soon as they become a registration, they go right into our Facebook group, our business talk with fitness professionals. Then we introduce them in there, and we start talking about the summit in there. But then now they're starting to get dripped on about our other stuff. So our coaching programs and every week we push out 2 emails on both episodes that are released that week. So they're on all those lists now. So it'll just start growing internally that way as well.
Yeah. And I would say like you're a pretty niche podcast, I would say, right? Like,
yeah.
What I guess for people who is niche good in your opinion so far, or?
If you're looking at downloads of podcast episodes and what you see out there and other people talking about, it's not, because we're talking of all the gym owners, let's just say United States, 36,000, right? Of the gyms in the United States, 36,000, that's not a whole lot. And of the 36,000, it's probably 20,000 actual gym owners. There's several that own several locations, right? So maybe 20,000 is our total audience. And within that audience, we're not talking to the big box gyms, and we're not talking to the yoga studios. We're talking to these training studio model. So that's probably like 10% of those people. So we have a very niche audience. And so is it a good thing to speak? I mean, yes, I think the whole adage, the riches are in the niches. Yeah, we can specialize in specific things and help a specific client, and we're really clear on who that client
I think
is.
if you go, the more niche you go, the more lifetime value you need, kind of. If it is going to be a smaller pond, you know?
Yes, bigger. Yeah. So most of our stuff's a little bit higher ticket. Our coaching programs are higher ticket, carries us a long way. So we're not selling a bunch of $97 products.
Yeah. You guys are selling so on the Built to Grow, what kind of prices are you selling from people who listen to the podcast or packages?
Yeah. So we've got anything from $3,000 to, $25,000, $30,000 off of the podcast for specific one-time purchases.
And you've gotten people directly from the podcast to a sale, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. Yep. They've listened to the show. They get on a call. They want to work with us, and we sell them into our coaching program. Maybe it's our $12,000 program. Boom, right from there. And they love it. And they become great clients because, like I said, they feel like that we have a relationship already. And so even though we don't have a relationship with them, they have a relationship with us. Like you were talking about the celebrity. And now we just get to know them, and it's great. It's a great tool.
I'm curious, what do you feel like? So you're 111 episodes. How many episodes are you in now?
156.
Oh my God. Sorry. 100.
Yeah.
You're crushing it. 156 episodes, and we started this year. Pretty sure.
We started April of 19.
Oh my God. I'm terrible with time, by the way.
Yeah.
So don't ever ask me a question about time. But so what do you think's changed about you? How have you evolved with the podcast? Are you what are the pros? Are you more confident going off the cuff, or thinking of content, or are you more creative? Are you always thinking this will be a good topic?
It's actually harder.
It's actually because you're tapping the well, right?
We don't know what to talk about anymore. There's not one. There's going to be some specific situations, but where do we even talk about? 156 episodes in, we're talking to one niche.
And you're doing solo episodes, so you're not doing too many interviews too. That's the thing for people to consider, right?
We've done, of the 156, we've maybe done 12 interview style.
Yeah.
So, but what's really interesting is the interview style episodes seem to be in our top 10. There's several of the guest interviews out of all,
because they promote it, the guest. Yeah.
That's absolutely true. And
I think you should probably start playing with that a little more.
Yeah, we'll find some good guests. The big thing in the very beginning is we only wanted to do guests in studio. We only wanted them here.
Yes, I remember.
That was our kind of, we were hard line in the sand that look, we need to have you here because we want to have the camera on you and the great mics and all this stuff. But with COVID, we ended up just throwing that out the window and just going Zoom Zoom-style. And it's been
I don't know if you ever seen Patrick Bet David, his interviews on Valuetainment, and has a couple million subscribers on YouTube. Wow. He does Zoom videos, but he does a lot of in-person stuff, but he'll still have really stuff that go viral that's over Zoom, but the way he shoots it is like when he's talking, it's camera angle. But when they're talking, it's a mixture of Zoom and then camera on Zoom. It's like interesting angles.
Oh, like a camera over here shooting the
just over his shoulder, like looking at Zoom, and it's just interesting angles they play with.
Well, that's how you spice it up, I guess.
Yeah, they do a lot of like, transitioning and such, but that's cool. That's cool. Anything else you feel like you've since 156 episodes that you've kind of improved in?
I mean, we've learned a lot, right? In the beginning, we knew we were going to suck, and we did. And okay, we just had to get it out there. I don't care who you are. You're going to suck when you first start. Like, you're not going to be great. I can't say that we're super great right now, but we're getting better every single episode, and we have a good flow. And we know, like, when you have a co-host like I do, we can finish each other's sentence. I already know what he's going to say before he says it. It's just a cool vibe back and forth. So
yeah, a lot of it's subconscious over time. It's just you can feel it. Actually, I'm going to share my screen. I think this is a cool tool. Maybe we can do a little experiment here. Have you heard of Answer the Public?
No.
Okay,
you know all these new tools. I don't know.
Yeah. So let's actually think about some content for you. Let me share my. All right, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
I don't know why this guy's the cover photo. It's kind of creepy.
Hey, guy.
But it's pretty much you search something on the internet, 1 to 2 words, and it shows you what people are asking about that on the internet. So what's a keyword?
Look at this guy. Just go fitness marketing. It's pretty common.
Okay. Gathering data.
So where's it searching?
I actually don't know, but I've used this recently, and it gave me a lot of content ideas.
Okay.
So it breaks it up. Wow, there's actually not a lot.
We're very niche.
Yeah, so it usually breaks it up into who, what, why, how. So how to start fitness marketing. This is actually not a lot of information.
Weird.
Maybe one keyword is better, but prepositions like fitness marketing on LinkedIn, fitness marketing on Instagram. So like people are searching for. So two, that keyword is pretty rare, I feel like.
Okay.
Fitness postcards for marketing.
Yeah, kind of boring, huh?
Yeah.
Kind of boring.
But it also shows like the most common. Actually, yeah. I feel like if it was a different word, it'll be more lucrative.
Well, whatever. Business coaching. Business coaching.
Oh, okay. Business coaching. Let's check that. Because when I searched podcast before, just like one keyword, it shows a ton.
Well, then you just do business and forget it. It's going to go explode.
So it just gathers the internet for a lot of questions. So like what business code for, what is life business coaching? Why business coaching is important? Just like basic stuff you wouldn't think newbies are asking.
Okay, so this is like looking at the search engines and
are business coaching expenses deductible? Like it could really take you down a lot of rabbit holes, right?
That's very cool. All right.
Yeah. So Answer the Public. Sometimes I find good ideas here. Maybe that could help you. If you have a keyword. So
I'll have to hit you up with that. So like based on that, how do we even make any money, right? Because it's like nobody's searching for, we're very niche, very small as far as who we can serve. But
it would probably be like around, like you'd think about what people are searching, maybe like gym growth or gym marketing or.
Yeah, there's what we can dig into that. I'm sure there's some stuff, but but we've had other businesses listen to our show, a bunch of other business, like people that own other businesses, because there's a lot of stuff that carries over. And we've got some great feedback. I think we only have like one hater on there so far, which is cool. Got to have one.
Yeah, that means you're loud. So, yeah. I think something else when thinking about like more content is different formats, like doing a question and answer episode.
Mm-hmm. We did a customer spotlight just this last one. So
that's a really good one.
It was
what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, exactly. Customer spotlight. It was okay. I mean, it was we kind of had to feed some info into his mouth a little bit because he's a little nervous or something. But it was a good show, and it will give somebody an inside peek as to how it is to work with us, just like this is how to work with you.
Yeah.
Very, very similar.
I think, and maybe this is a different topic for a different day, but I've also seen a trend of podcasts doing shorter length, higher frequency. Like Neil Patel, I don't know if you know how he does his podcast, The Marketing School, how it's like daily, but it's like 5 minutes. They actually record that one day a month. They record for like the whole day.
Blast it out, huh?
They just blast it out and then boom.
That's great. Yeah, great way to do it. I know Kern does that a lot. He'll chop up things that he's done in the past and they become podcasts. Very
which I think it's more, that when they repurpose old stuff, it's kind of weird, but I think it's more just for time management perspective, not necessarily content performance.
Sure. No, it's a great way to do it.
Cool. So I appreciate you hopping on, man. I'll let you know when this is out to the world and such, but like let people know about your summit, where they can follow you, etc.
All right, couple places. So we have the Built to Grow podcast. That's our podcast that we do twice a week. We have episodes twice a week there. That's for the gym owners. And we've also got our fitnessgrowsummit.com. That's our 30 speaker expert summit. You're one of the speakers. Daxy and Ryan were both speakers on that. And then timlyonsjr.com. That's just my personal website.
There's a lot of speakers there. Like what kind of like topics do you think speakers are
Oh my gosh. It was, we had, business coaches to, fitness professionals, motivational speakers. We had some e-commerce guys. Podcast was you. We had, what else? Digital marketing experts. Obviously we had some people that have made $1 million in a day, and they talked about how they did that. It was very cool. So,
did you talk about anything on the summit?
No, you know what? I was just I was the host, or whatever. But I was thinking about that at the end. Like, I'm really pushing all these other speakers, but they get to hear me on every single one, and
I'm sure you add your own spice on.
Yeah, I speak to basically. I'm on every single one, so they're sick of me by the end of that thing. So no big deal.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you being on, man.
For sure.
Go follow Tim. Appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
See you.